You ever stop and think about why you can get a student discount on a movie ticket, but not on your popcorn? Or why the person sitting right next to you on a plane might have paid a totally different price for their ticket? Well, the answer is this really powerful economic strategy called price discrimination. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it works.
Okay, let's kick things off with a little puzzle. You're at the movies, you flash your student ID, you get that sweet discount on your ticket. Awesome. But then you head over to the concession stand, try the same move for your popcorn, and nope, not gonna happen. Why? I mean, it's the same theater, it's still you, so what gives? This really simple question is actually the key to understanding a huge economic idea.
So, that whole thing has a name: price discrimination. It's basically when a seller decides to split up their customers into different groups and then charges each group a different price for the exact same thing. The goal? Well, it's to make as much profit as possible by figuring out what each group is actually willing to pay. It's this amazing spot where a company's bottom line meets our own personal psychology.
Now, let's get one thing straight right away. When economists use the word discrimination, they are not talking about the social kind of discrimination we're all fighting against. This is a purely economic term. It's all about separating customers based on how they buy things, not who they are. We're talking about things like your age, whether you use a coupon, or how much stuff you're buying. That's the kind of discrimination we mean.
So, how do businesses actually pull this off? It's not as easy as just making up different prices. There are two really important rules, two conditions that have to be met for this whole strategy to even work.
First, the seller has to be able to chop up their customers into different buckets. And second, and this one is absolutely crucial, they have to make sure that the people who get the low price can't just turn around and sell the item to the people who are supposed to pay the high price. Think about our movie theater again. They can give a student a cheap ticket because they can check an ID, but they can't do that for a soda. Why? Because that student could just buy a cheap soda and sell it for a profit to the person in line behind them. The ticket is tied to a person, the soda isn't. That's the whole game, right there.
So what makes these groups different in the first place? It all comes down to a concept called demand elasticity. You can think of it like a rubber band. For some customers, demand is elastic, meaning if you drop the price even a little, their demand stretches a lot, and you sell way more. For these price-sensitive folks, you set a lower price. But for other customers, demand is inelastic. It's not stretchy. They're going to buy it pretty much no matter the price. For them, you can charge more. It's all about finding that pricing sweet spot for each group.
Okay, so now that we've got the rules down, let's look at the different ways this strategy actually shows up in the wild. Economists have pretty much broken it all down into three main categories, or as they call them, degrees.
All right, here's a quick roadmap for you. You've got third degree, which is all about market segmentation. Then there's second degree, which is about how much you buy. And finally, you have first degree, which is this idea of perfect discrimination. Let's dig into each one.
Third degree is by far the one you bump into all the time. This is your classic student discount, your senior pricing, or how airlines can charge a business traveler way more than a tourist for a seat on the very same flight. The key thing to remember here is that the price difference has nothing to do with how much it costs to provide the service. It's purely based on the different demand elasticities of those groups.
Second degree is another one you've definitely seen. This is basically block pricing. Think about buying in bulk at Costco or getting a cheaper price on a soda refill. The more you buy, the less you pay for each individual unit. It's just a way of offering a volume discount to appeal to different levels of demand. And finally, we get to the rarest, most difficult type, first degree or perfect price discrimination. This is kind of the holy grail for a seller. It means they somehow know the absolute, to-the-penny maximum price each individual customer is willing to pay, and they charge them exactly that. This isn't just about big groups. It's about a seller getting inside one single buyer's head. A classic example? A really intense negotiation for a used car.
So, we've seen how price discrimination works in theory, how businesses identify groups, set prices, the whole shebang. But what if this isn't just about a business strategy? What if it's actually a window into something much deeper, like a way to understand why people do what they do?
The famous economist F.A. Hayek once said that the facts of the social sciences are basically just the beliefs that people have about the world. In other words, you can't really understand an economy with just numbers and charts. You have to get inside people's heads and figure out what actually drives them.
So that presents a huge challenge, right? How can an economist, sitting in some office, possibly know the beliefs and the motivations of millions of entrepreneurs and customers out there in the real world? I mean, the math can only get you so far.
The answer is so simple, it's almost funny. You just ask. You go out into the world and you actually talk to people. This is the heart of a field some people call economic anthropology. It's about getting out of the ivory tower and onto the street.
And this approach has led to some incredible breakthroughs. The economist Hernando de Soto had his students actually try to get legal titles for their own homes, just to document every single roadblock. This showed why so many entrepreneurs in developing countries were totally locked out of the formal economy. And at the University of Chicago, another economist, Gary Becker, would send his students to local shops with a really simple question. So, how do you set your prices? He was literally taking economics to the streets.
And this brings us full circle, right back to price discrimination, but we're seeing it in a totally new light now. It's not just a boring chapter in a textbook, it's a real-world thing we can actually go out and see for ourselves.
So here's the big takeaway. For a business owner, price discrimination is a tool, a way to make money. But for an economist, or really for any of us, it's a window into the human mind. It's where the neat and tidy theories from the classroom collide with the messy, fascinating reality of the world.
And this leaves us with one last thought. Price discrimination shows us that sometimes the best way to understand the complex machinery of our world isn't to just build a model from far away, but to actually have a conversation with the people who are turning the gears. It really makes you wonder, what other incredible insights are just sitting out there waiting for us to just start by asking?